Good morning, Year 2, and welcome to Tuesday's literacy lesson. I hope you had a lovely Monday and you're ready to go again for another session on Pandora's box. So I'm just going to share my screen and we can get cracking. Okay, here we go then. So today we are going to draw a story map, which will be nice. So we're going to be using a little bit of those artistic skills that I know you've all got in there. And we're going to be using our story map to help us to remember the story, because tomorrow we're going to be doing a bit of a writing job on it. So there's a new spelling rule to learn today, and we're going to try and use it in a sentence. And then we're going to reread the story and think about the sequence of events, what happens in that story that we learned yesterday, that we heard. And then we're going to draw a story map. Okay, these are all the things you're going to need. Definitely that literacy brain, please, and all the rest of them. Now, I've changed the middle option to a blank piece of paper because it will be easier to do your story map on. But if you don't have a blank piece of paper, don't worry, just use your usual book. Okay, this is the spelling rule for this week. And it's quite a tricky one, and it's one where there actually isn't a rule, which is a little bit annoying, a bit cheeky. But it's just one where you have to really learn those words that you think, oh yes, I know that when I write gnome, it has a G at the start, and when I write the word knee, it's got a K. So the spelling rule is the sound spelled as KN and less often GN at the beginning of words. So sometimes that sound, it could be spelled as a KN, so that's things like night and things like knee. But sometimes it's spelled as GN for things like gnome. So we're still saying the same sound, that N sound, but we're now writing it slightly different. That's our spelling rule. So it says they all include a silent letter, and they're just words you will have to learn. There's no set rule, which is so cheeky. And so they've always got that silent K or silent G at the start, okay? Right, so these are the KN words, where they've got that silent K at the very start. I've tried to think about all the ones that you might know already. You might have a different one that's not on the screen, but we've got, have a good look at them. Maybe pause me actually and have a read of them. That might be a good thing. Okay, did you have any other different KN words? I didn't think of that one. Good work. There's not as many GN words. Okay, I could only think of these ones. My goodness, I can only think of the ones that you might know already. This one is gnaw. So this one's maybe when a dog is gnawing on a bone. There, chomp, chomp on the bone. This one is a gnome. And this one is a gnat, which is a really, really small insect, a buzzy insect. Sometimes it gives us a little bite. So they're those things that are a little bit smaller than a mosquito. They're gnats. And sometimes we see GN at the end of words. So I've just put some words on there: sign, design, and rain. That doesn't mean the rain that falls from the sky. That means like a queen's reign, for how long she's on the throne for, so many, many years. So there are GN words. There's not as many of those that we normally use, whereas there's lots of those KN words. Things like I know the answer. That's one of that has that KN at the start. Okay, so what I want you to do then is choose one of those KN or GN, and I meant to say words, sorry, and use it in a sentence, please. So we'll just quickly flip back. So there's the GN, and they're still in that N sound. And there's those KN, again with that N sound for knock and not, knee and night. Okay, and what I want you to do is pop one of them in a sentence for me and do it on your whiteboard. That'd be lovely. And I'll see you in a second. Right then, everyone, I hope you had a good go at writing that sentence with one of those words in. Okay, good job. And now we are going to move it along. We're going to think about that story map. So how do brilliant writers draw a story map? That's our little question for today. So it says we're going to be drawing even a story map for the ancient myth we read yesterday. And on Wednesday, we're going to be retelling the story. So this is going to be a really handy lesson today, so that we know what to do in our lesson tomorrow. Okay, let's reread that story then. It's got some tricky words in there. So let's reread them to try and get them implanted in our brain as much as we can. So listening ears, looking eyes. Are you nosy? Do you like secrets? Have you ever done something that you've been warned not to, just to find out a secret? All through time, there have been stories about people being told not to open doors, cupboards, gates, and all sorts of things. And in many of the stories, the people just don't listen. One person who didn't listen is Pandora. Her story is from ancient Greece, where her nosiness changed the world forever. Not hundreds, but thousands of years ago, in ancient Greece, there lived two brothers called Epimetheus and Prometheus. Although they lived in a world where the gods were in charge, they liked nothing more than to annoy the gods. One day, Zeus, that's him in that picture, by the way. One day, Zeus, a particularly powerful god, decided to teach them a lesson. Zeus ordered the gods to create a beautiful woman. Her name was Pandora, and she was to marry Epimetheus. As a wedding present, Zeus gave Pandora a beautiful box, but there was one special condition. She was never to open it. All day, Pandora's husband Epimetheus was out working. All day, all she could think about was what was in the box. Pandora could not understand why Zeus would give her a box that she could not open. It made no sense to her. Pandora was bored and lonely, and her curiosity became unbearable. One day, when she was sure that Epimetheus was out annoying the gods, Pandora searched for the key to open the box. I know it's here somewhere, she muttered to herself as she opened cupboards and drawers. There it was, high on a shelf in their bedroom. With shaking hands, Pandora slid the key into the lock and turned it. Can anyone remember yet from yesterday what happens next? Oh, well done for remembering. She took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and slowly, with trembling hands, opened the lid of the box, imagining what could be inside. Rubies as red as the blazing sunset, jewel-encrusted gowns, piles of gold coins. But there was no coins or jewelry, no gowns, no gems, for all at once, every evil and spite, every sadness and misery flew out. Like a swarm of insects, they fled the house and infested the earth with heartache and sorrow. Pandora slammed the lid shut and turned the key. What have I done? She sobbed, holding her head in her hands. Sometime later, Pandora noticed a fluttering sound coming from the box, as if something was trapped inside. Terrified, she pressed her ear to the box. Let me out, a small voice pleaded gently. I mean you no harm. Once again, with shaking hands, Pandora unlocked the box and opened the lid. A beautiful butterfly of hope fluttered out of the box. For although Pandora had released pain and suffering into the world, she had allowed hope to follow them. That's a lovely ending, actually, isn't it? Because then we know that whenever we're feeling down, we're feeling sad, we can hope that we're always going to feel better, and we do always feel better. Thank you, Pandora, for getting that butterfly out. Oh my goodness, imagine if she hadn't. So we're going to do a bit of sequencing now. So on your whiteboard, you're going to need to get your whiteboard out and split it into 6 sections. So how I normally do it is I normally do 2 lines and then a line across. So try and copy that onto there for me because we're going to fill it in just a second. So you're going to need to pause me now. Okay, everyone finished? Lovely. So in the first box, we're going to think about who are those characters that we first meet. And we meet, okay, a few characters. We meet the 2 brothers, we meet the powerful god, and we meet the woman that he creates. So who are the characters we first meet? The 2 brothers, Prometheus and Epimetheus. Don't worry too much if you can't spell it. I think it's really hard to say personally. So you could always just write 2 brothers. And then we need to write that name of the god who is Zeus. Okay, in the next box then, it says, what does Zeus do to play a trick on the brothers? Now he does something that's a little bit mean. What does he do? He creates Pandora, doesn't he? But he doesn't create her for a very nice reason. He creates Pandora and gives her a box. And he says a box that we must never open. Okay, so I want you to write something about that in the second box, please. Okay. Now, in the third box along, it says, how does Pandora feel when she is left on her own? So Epimetheus is too busy. He's out and about. He's annoying the gods. He's working. He doesn't pay her any attention. How does she feel when she's left on her own? Now it says, is she curious about the box? Does she want to open it? To answer those questions. Does she want to? She does. She's feeling very curious. She wants to know what's inside. Okay, so the fourth box says, what does Pandora do one day? What does she decide to do? Write your answer in the box for me. You might need to pause me after everyone, that's okay. This is going to help us with our story map. And then in the fifth box along, it says, what happens when Pandora opens the box? So remember back, okay, to the near the end of our story, what comes out of the box? Something bad comes out of the box. And then how does she feel once she realizes that all of those things have come out of the box? She's not very happy. So again, write your answers in your fifth square. Okay, and then what happens at the very end of the story? Now, luckily, our story has got a bit of a happier ending. Something happens at the very end of the story. Something else pops out of the box. What is it that comes out of the box to spread some joy again in the world and give us something called hope? What comes out of the box? Can you write it in your sixth box, the last one? Okay, right, once you're all done, don't rub it off. We need that one, so don't rub it off. Keep it next to you because it's going to help us with our story map, okay? So I have used that information. I flicked back through and I had a look at the story again too to create my very own story mountain I've done. Now you can either do a story mountain or you can do an S plan. It's completely up to you, whatever you think is going to be helpful. So with a story mountain, I hope you can see my mouse. It starts at the bottom, okay? And as the story mountain gets higher, the problem, okay, happens around here. And then this is all the things that happen after the problem. And here is the ending down here. Okay, so let's have a read of mine. It says, at the very start, it says, there are two brothers in ancient Rome who love to annoy the gods. Zeus, a powerful god, creates Pandora as revenge for their behavior. He gives her a box as a gift, but tells her she must never open it. Pandora is confused. Pandora is lonely and bored. She decides to open the box. So that's why it's at the top, because that's my main problem, the main bit of the story. When the box opens, all the bad feelings in the world fly out and find a human to latch onto. That means the feelings are going to come into a human body. Pandora is devastated. That means she's feeling awful about what she's done. A voice tells Pandora to reopen the box, and a butterfly of hope flies out of the box and follows the bad feelings to every human. That means that butterfly again comes into every human to make us feel okay again after we feel sad. That's my story mountain, okay? Here's the choice then. Decide if you'd like to draw your own story mountain or do an S for your S plan. And you're going to need to try and draw that now on your blank piece of paper. So pause me now and draw your outline for me. Okie dokie then. So your activity today is you need to draw a plan for the story of Pandora's box. Keep hold of that whiteboard because it's got so much information on there. Again, you can pause my video, rewind it back, read the story again. So if you're going to do a one chili challenge, then you just need to write keywords only. Okay, that'll be nice and easy. So you might have down the bottom of your story mountain or at the top of your S plan, you might have two brothers. Then you might have Zeus alongside of it, and then you might say Zeus makes Pandora, that sort of thing, nice and easy, just keywords. Two chilies is a keyword and picture, so you might draw your keywords again, and then draw a nice picture to go alongside it. And three words is keywords, pictures, and adjectives. That's things like she's feeling devastated, okay, a beautiful butterfly of hope fluttered out, that sort of thing. Okay, so this is a nice plan activity. Make sure you've got that whiteboard beside you with the information on too. All right, then if you want to pause me now and you get started on your plan for me. Looking forward to seeing them. Okay, right then. Hopefully you've done a really good job of your plan now. And what I want you to do is read it back. Have you included all of the main points? Let's quickly flip back to mine. Have you got everything else on there that looks pretty similar to mine? I just haven't got any lovely pictures on mine. Double check it over. Have you got mine? Have you got everything that's on mine even? Okay, so tomorrow we're going to be retelling the story of Pandora's box, and we're going to be doing a nice bit of writing tomorrow, which would be nice. So a bit of story writing, which we haven't done for a long time. So I'm looking forward to it, and hope you can join me. And up next, again, not a reading one today, so you've just got that Oxford Owl to look at. A reading book at home would be amazing. There's the Read Write Ink online to look at, or have a look at your common exception words. Okay, right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And I will see you again tomorrow for another session. We'll get our writing brains on. So hopefully you can join me then. I'll see you then. Bye.